Hey Nomies, it's me Nesha, and I'm coming to you with a sickle cell vlog slash chit chat video. Whew. Out of breath, I just ran up the stairs. I'm looking kind of rough. I didn't do anything to my hair today, but I wanted to make sure that I did this video because I was actually supposed to do it a couple weeks ago. Excuse me. A couple weeks ago, a fellow sickle cell warrior, her name is Angela, asked me about when I had my port surgery, how it was, and she was getting ready to have her port surgery, and I was supposed to try to get the video done before she had her surgery, but I am so behind on editing and videos. I have like a list of videos that I'm gonna do, and I have like a lot of videos that I'm supposed to be editing. Like right now I'm editing, like right now, literally editing right now. So it's just a few questions that she had. First, even though this can't help her now, maybe it can help somebody else. When you get the port surgery, the only thing that I recommend is after your surgery, make sure that you are taking deep breaths. And that's really important for, sorry, the sun is in my face. That's really important because if you're not taking enough deep breaths, you can get pneumonia. And I know everybody's body is different, but that happens to me a lot. Like when I'm in a crisis, if my back or chest is hurting and I don't take enough deep breaths, then I end up getting pneumonia because I'm not expanding my lungs enough. So that's the only thing that I recommend, that I tell everyone. And the thing is, when you're in pain, you don't want to take deep breaths. You're like taking those small breaths, but you need to every once in a while make sure you, even though it's gonna hurt. Like my doctor told me when I'm in the hospital, if I'm watching TV, she gave me one of those breathing exercises, little things. It's like where you blow in it and you try to keep the ball at a certain level. So she gave me that, and like if I'm watching TV, she told me every commercial break, do it a few times. So when I'm in a sickle cell crisis, she likes me to do it like that, but I don't do it that much because that's a lot. If I'm watching TV all day and I do it, but I do it. So yeah, that can't help. Her name is Angela. Hey Angela, I'm so sorry I didn't do it before your surgery, but that can help other people that are getting ready for a port surgery. My port is, I'm red from, I don't know why I'm red, but this is my port right here. I have the power port. These are my incisions. This one is basically almost gone, and this one is a lot smaller. Like they were a lot bigger than this. And then this is my actual port. This thing you see sticking up is like there are little dots in there that let them know where to stick. So there's one here, and one here, like a triangle, and they're supposed to stick right in the middle of those three dots. You can feel it. And okay, so the questions that she had, the first question was, what were my emotions before surgery? And I'm a drama queen, and I'm emotional, so, and I get anxiety about stuff. Like I'll be like, okay, wait. Like I psych myself out on stuff, and I'll be like, oh, it wasn't even that bad. So that's kind of how I was with that. But they gave me like some medicine for anxiety before the surgery, and like it didn't really work because like I was still kind of panicked. So the anesthesiologist was like, how do you feel? It's like, I'm still kind of freaking out when they rolled me into the room. And she was like, oh, I got plenty of that what is it, anxiety medicine. I'll just give you some more. So she gave me some more and I was fine. By then I was just kind of like that. So I would say that I was a little nervous. And the thing that I was nervous about the most was going into a crisis from it. Because at that point with my health, Everything was sending me into a crisis. I was in the hospital every other month, almost every month. Everything was sending me into a crisis. If I got a cold, I went into a crisis. If I cried too long, I went into a crisis. If I got too mad, I went into a crisis. If I got too excited, I went into a crisis. If I stood too long, I went into a crisis. When I would do Leah's hair, because I do my daughter's hair, like I braid her hair and stuff like that. If I would do that, I would go into a crisis. I mean, if I cleaned too much, I would go into a crisis. So I was like, oh my God, it's going to make me go into a crisis. And so yeah, I was kind of nervous about that. The next question she had, I'm looking down at the questions. The next question she had was how I felt after I woke up from surgery. How I felt after I woke up from surgery is like, it wasn't, some people, everybody's pain tolerance is different. Like some people, when they're in a crisis, they cry and, you know, make noises. I do cry sometimes, but I kind of do the silent cry where like tears just come down. When it gets really bad, I'll, you know, kind of grunt and turn, toss and turn a little bit. But some people are like, like, you know, screaming and stuff. I personally don't do that because I just feel like it takes more of my energy doing all of that. And I end up being out of breath, and then it just upsets me more. So I don't do that, but I do cry and grunt. So after this surgery, I kind of was like, I just felt sore. I just felt sore, like all up here. Like it felt like a fat person sat on me, and I worked out a lot, and I was sore after working out. That's what it felt like. It wasn't horrible. Like, oh my God, I would never do this again. Like, if this port stopped working today, I get a new one tomorrow. Like, my experience wasn't bad. Even though I did get pneumonia afterwards, which is what I'm going to say. And I answered her other question, which was how painful was it for me? It wasn't that painful. I mean, it was painful, but it wasn't that painful. But I did end up getting pneumonia afterwards, and we're not 100% sure how I got pneumonia. They did have oxygen on me doing surgery. I was not taking deep breaths like I should have after surgery, and that's because I was sore here. So when you take a deep breath, it expands it. But I am the type of person, I know my body really well. So after I got out of surgery, I kind of knew that I was about to go into a crisis. Like I can feel it. Like I could feel that I was about to go into crisis. And I kind of felt like I needed to be admitted and stay, but it was an outpatient surgery. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to be in a hospital anyway, so I'm just going to go home. If it don't work, then I'll see how it goes. But the next day, I had an appointment with my doctor the next day. And I went and I just told her, like, I feel horrible. Like, I feel like somebody is stabbing me. And it hurts when I take a deep breath. When I take a deep breath, it feels like somebody is, like, stabbing me in the back and in the chest. And I told her, like, Dr. Kerr, I feel like I have pneumonia. Like, I've had it enough to know how it feels. And I feel like I have pneumonia. And she was like, well, I'm just going to admit you. So she admitted me, and they did x-rays, and lo and behold, I had pneumonia. So, we don't, and another thing, I get pneumonia a lot too from the sickle cells getting caught in my lungs. I end up like, sometimes I actually have part of my lung that's kind of like not in use anymore. Like on an x-ray, it shows kind of like a grayish spot like I have pneumonia. But that's basically like where a small part of my lung that has been deteriorated from sickle cell and from the sickle cells getting caught in my lungs and from me getting pneumonia. So I honestly think that the pneumonia came from me not taking deep breaths enough, because they did have oxygen on me during surgery. But after surgery, all that night, you know, taking shallow breaths, and the next day taking shallow breaths. Like, I told my mom, I was sitting on the couch, I was like, Mommy, because I still call my mom Mommy. I was like, Mommy, I got pneumonia. She was like, how you know? I'm like, I know what it feels like, and I have pneumonia. And went to the doctor the next day, and I had it. So I was admitted. And is that how? Actually, no, that's not how it happened. I went to the emergency room the next day because I think I had my surgery on a Friday. and I went to the emergency room the next day, and I still had my, like, the stitches, and they were like, oh, we're going to stick you in your arm. I'm like, hold up. I don't went through all of this to get this surgery. You're not about to stick me in my arm. You're going to have to use my port. And basically it was still bandaged up. So they basically just took like a wet cloth and set on it to loosen the bandages. And once they took it off, like the stitches were basically almost healed. And I think this was the third day. Yeah, I think it was the third day that I went to the emergency room. So that was her other question. How did I feel 3 days later? That's when I ended up going to the ER, like the third day. Because the first day I came home, and I was kind of just sore. The second day is when I was like, I got pneumonia. And the third day is when I went to the ER. And what happened, I got my surgery on a Friday. I didn't feel good that Saturday because my mom was with me. And then that Sunday we went to the ER and we were there until like 3 o'clock in the morning. These fools sent me home. I had a doctor's appointment the next day. So my doctor, I went to her and she was like, oh my God, basically, like, I look bad. I look sick. And she was like, you went to the ER and they sent you home? And I was like, yeah. Wait, no, is that what happened? Girl, I done been in the hospital so many times, they all mix up. But I don't know. You know what? I'm lying. They didn't send me home. They didn't send me home. But I did go to the doctor the next day after my port surgery, you know, for the follow-up. And it wasn't hurting that bad. And I thought I was just sore from that. So I went home. And then that's when I went to the emergency room that Sunday. And they ended up admitting me because when they took me to get the x-rays, it showed that I had pneumonia. So, and then they used some lidocaine. They put lidocaine cream on my port because, like, I was really nervous. I'm like, I just heard that this needle is big. I'm not used to that. This is my first time getting stuck. So the nurse put lidocaine on it. And I had a really cool nurse. Like, she put lidocaine on it. And she was like, you can ask your doctor to write you a prescription for this so that if you feel like your port hurts, you can put it on like 30 minutes before you go to your doctor's appointment and all that stuff. And she's like, or you can just ask the doctors or the hospital to put it on whenever they access your port. And she even gave me the tube, even though they're not supposed to do that. But she was like, I'm not supposed to do this. She's like, I'm leaving it on the counter. And she's like, you know what to do. And I was like, okay. But, I mean, it was lidocaine. I'm pretty sure she won't get fired for that. I don't remember her name and the hospital and all that stuff anyway. That was, like, over a year ago. But, yeah, so those are all the questions that Angela had. And I know I rambled a lot and got my story mixed up. But overall, I love my port. Sometimes it's positional, meaning that depending on the position I'm sitting in or laying in, it won't give blood. But it will take fluids and medicine. And to be honest, my surgeon told me this, and ports weren't made to take blood out. They were made for like dialysis and chemo and all of that stuff, and to take infusions and medicines and things like that. People, you know, they just were like, oh, okay, we can use it for this too, and try to take blood out of it too. And I hate when they'll be like, oh, it's something wrong with your port. No, it ain't nothing wrong with my port, because technically that's not what a port is for. And my surgeon was like, don't ever let anybody tell you something wrong with your port. As long as it's taking fluids, it's doing its job. Its job is not made to give like they want it to. So but yeah, if I lay in a certain position, it'll work. But my whole reason that I wanted my port is so that I can get IV fluids and pain medicines. If they have to stick me a few times here and there to get blood, fine. But it's a difference in sticking me to get blood than sticking me for an IV, and I have to worry about that IV blowing and all this other stuff, and you digging and all this stuff. No, that's just too much. But that's it for now, guys. I'm editing some regular vlogs right now. If you guys have any questions or anything else I can help you with, please leave it down below. Angela, I'm so sorry I didn't do it sooner. If you have any other questions, you can ask me on here. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Snapchat. Just look for Nesha's_life. See you guys later. Bye.